story begins with the two young girls are being attacked by the bandits and one of them is about to get raped by them, but that's until a giant knight with silver armor appeared from nowhere and cut down those bandits in two halves with single swipe of his sword. Before all of this mess begins, previously the knight is a gamer from Japan and finds himself awoken in the body of one of his character Arc, an 8 feet tall knight with the best armor, weapons, and max physical and magical skills. Recalling that he fell asleep after playing the video game, Arc tries out his wyvern slash move and is stupefied by the power behind the slash. As he gets comfortable he gets hungry and sadly without food or money. Arc cast Gate's spell to teleport him to nearby town, but instead he got teleported off a cliff. Arc founds a pond as he travels and takes off his helmet to drink, but he realizes that his head is that of a skeleton. Remembering that he modified his avatar to be skeleton in his old world. Arc thinks that if he entered a town without wearing his helmet, live skeleton would scare people and he would be treated like a monster and make him a target. So he decides to keep his helmet on at all times and tries to avoid drawing any attention to himself and teleports to a nearby town. In Louviert, Arc encounter a female elf arguing with an investigator over his failure to obtaining the information she hired him for. But she disappeared when Arc was daydreaming about elf fantasies. As he has no money he attempts to become adventurer and finds the town's mercenary guild and tries to acquire a license, but to get license he have to slay 3 enemies in the forest. Afterwards, Arc slays a couple of bull boars and then an orc. While searching for the third enemy, Arc spots a group of bandits surrounding a noble lady and her maid. He wonders if he should risk getting involved until he sees that the 2 young ladies are about to be raped and violently cut bandits into 2 halves. And he slays remaining bandits with his wyvern slash move. Once the bandits were dealt with, Arc checks upon the 2 ladies and learns of their names. The ladies are noble Lauren Levert and her maid Rita. Then Rita asks if Arc belongs to a nearby noble. Arc tells them some excuses that he is a knight that's on journey. As Rita and Lauren step into the forest to take care of themselves, Arc cremates the bandits' bodies with his fire spell and noticed his lack of guilt for killing them all. Before the ladies return, Arc covertly loots all the bandits' valuables and uses their horses to carry the stuff. After heading back to the town, Arc rides parallel to Lauren's carriage driven by Rita, who thanks Arc for what he did, while Lauren staring at him with admiration. After escorting them, Arc goes back to Gilead and turns his subjugated Puri and given his license. Arc immediately checks into an inn and order his food to be delivered in his room. Arc was enjoying his food and drinks and thinks that he might be stuck in this new world for a while, so he permanently decides to have fun. Arc looks forward to completing some quests. A single mother named Siona works hard for her 2 children, Marka and Helena. She heads to the field every morning as the sun rises. Wanting to help their mother, Marka writes a job request asking for help. Later Arc accepts a job protecting a young village girl while collecting herbs. Arc arrives at the job destination called Rata Village and the village's gatekeeper directs him to Marka's home. Marka and her sister Helena were eating breakfast when Arc knocks on the door and Marka answers it immediately. Bewildered by the large presence of Arc, who informs her that he had accepted their job posting from the mercenary guild. A short flashback interaction between the guild receptionist and Arc about the job, and the receptionist suggests Arc be gentle with the client. Back to the present, Marka politely asks if they can start immediately. Arc accepts and thus Marka prepares herself. While roaming in the forest, Arc gets curious about Marka's haste to collect herbs and Marka explains that she doesn't want her mother to get worried. Siona, who has become overprotective since Marka's father died. To find out, they come across an injured kitten-like creature which Arc heals and the creature decides it wants to stay with Arc. Marka suggests Arc to give little creature a name. After thinking a lot, Arc names it Ponta for its fluffy tail. Back in the Rata village, hunters arrive the news. There is extra dangerous monster in the forest. Siona arrives back in the village and hears from the gatekeeper that Marka left for the forest earlier that morning with a well-armored knight. Returning to Arc's group, they found the kabumi tree in full bloom, and the moment Marka approaches the tree a giant basilisk appears from behind it. Noticing Ponta's aggressive behavior toward the beast, Ark figured out that the one responsible for injuring her was this monster. Before the basilisk could attack Marka, Ark briskly pulls her out of the way and then avoids its poison fog breath attacks. Fortunately, Ark has fought a basilisk before in the game. Eventually Ark kills the Gant basilisk into two halves with a combat skill belonging to the top-tier class Sacred Knight called Judgment. However, Ark asks Marka to keep this a secret for fear of drawing unwanted attention. He notices a magic ring on the basilisk leg which shatters and disappears after the monster is killed. He returns Marka to Siona along with a giant fang boar for the villagers to feast on, and villagers gives him boar's fangs and runestone as payment. Ark and Ponta get ready to leave and Ark is given a circlet of flowers by Helena. Ark bid his farewell to Marka and her family. Later that night in the forest, a large group of soldiers slays another giant basilisk. The leader is given a status on total number of soldiers killed and injured. Then they come across a much larger corpse of the basilisk were killed. They notice it was killed by a single strike with an extremely large sword and wonder who killed. Amazed by this feat, the leader surmises that the one who slew it must be either a god or devil himself. Meanwhile, Ark enjoys himself with Ponta while eating and drinking, and considers taking on a more challenging quest the next day. Next day, Ark accepts a job and deals with bandits hiding in a forest cave, taking their treasure as loot. Elsewhere, it is revealed that attack on Lauren Louviert was a failed assassination ordered by Lord Triton Diento, who was himself ordered by Prince Dakars to destabilize the kingdom in readiness for a war. Triton is also furious that his son Eudolin is putting himself at risk leading their illegal slave operation. Back in the forest, a female elf watches Ark by a cave. Ark emerging from the bandits' cave, she attacks Ark and accuses him of kidnapping elf children, until she sees Ponta, which she recognizes as a forest spirit creature. Since spirit creatures rarely trust mortals, she realizes that Ark couldn't be a kidnapper. Ark offers his assistance, but she refuses his offer. Next day, when Ark was doing his another job in the forest, he see elves' children were locked in a cage. Then the female elf finds the kidnapped elves' children are being tortured by Eudolin and his men. Ark decides not to interfere with this situation and watches from the bushes. The female elf kills most of the slavers but is forced to surrender when Eudolin threatens the children. Then Ark decides to step up and uses dimensional move and knock out Eudolin with armor lariat attack. Ark protects the children, allowing the elf to kill the rest. Ark then frees the captives elves and magically heals their wounds, to the elf warrior's amazement, refusing to believe that Ark is just a simple adventurer, but convinced of his trustworthiness. The elf introduces herself as Ariane Glennon's Maple, an elf warrior. Ariane receives a message that more enslaved elves have been located and thinks to hires Ark to help her free kidnapped elves. Ariane requests to hire Ark, who considers that her comrades will act apprehensively towards him, but she's willing to trust that they'll accept him the same way she does. So, Ark accepts Ariane's offer. Using the magic spell Gate, Ark teleports the group to Lidl River, which surprises Ariane as she notices Diento in the distance. The reason why Ark teleported them to that spot by the river, he didn't want to cause drawing people's attention in city to himself. When they arrive in the city, they wait for Donka. Ark meets Ariane's elf comrade Donka, who immediately mistrusts Ark, although he is surprised to hear that Ark can use teleportation magic and manage to earn both Ponta's and Ariane's trust. Impressed by this news, Donka then discloses the location of their target area within the theater district, as their attack on the slavers' warehouse won't be for hours. Ark leaves on personal errands. Ariane says they'll be waiting there for him. With Ark gone, Donka surprised that she asked for help from a human. Ariane shares her perceived failure with Donka as she almost captured and had to be saved by Ark, and compares herself unfavorably to her older sister, that she would have had no trouble in accomplishing it. Donka then says that one day, you should be able to stand in the same acclaim as your sister. But Donka asks if they can really trust Ark, and she reaffirms it. Ark buys food for himself and Ponta and goes in a deserted alley so he can remove his helmet to drink booze and food. Elsewhere, the captive elves' location is revealed and one of the elves proclaims that they'll be rescued and that the slavers will be punished. The slayers, however, pay no mind to the warning. Ark, Ariane and Danka depart on their mission. A shadowy figure watches them from a rooftop. Using Dimension Move, Ark teleports the group to the rooftop. Afterwards, Ariane struggles to get inside the building. Ark uses Dimension Move again to teleport but see her nice view. While searching in the warehouse, Ark and the two elves find that all the slavers have already been expertly assassinated. From there, they all split up to investigate the building so they can cover more ground. Ark uses Dimension Move to cover the sound of his tracks as he moves around the building. And the moment he enters the room he finds more dead bodies and suddenly got attacked by a ninja. Ark is overcome with otaku enthusiasm when the ninja turns out to be a female with cat ears. The ninja asks Ark how he knows that she's a ninja, but calms down after seeing Ponta the spirit creature. She realizes that Ark is trustworthy and deduces that Ark is there for the enslaved elves and then gives him documents she stole, naming nobles who have already purchased elf slaves as well as the location of slaves kept by Lord Triton. Before departing, she also reveals that the elf slaves were not her goal as her true target is not on the premises. At that moment, 3 bandits enter the room Ark's group is in and are swiftly dealt with by Ariane. Down in the basement area, the elven girls are freed by Ark's group and the elves are thankful for being rescued by them. Gate is cast by Ark and outside, he notices the magic-eating collars around the elves' necks and uses Uncurse to dispel them. Denka becomes more amazed at Ark's magical skill. As the elves thank Ark, Danka tells Ariane that it's not over yet and that he'll lead the elves home safely. He also leaves Ark and Ariane to take care of rescuing the remaining 2 elves held captive in the Lord's palace. Ark then uses Dimension Move to reach the Lord's palace. They had to sneak into his palace but they messed up and crashed in palace. The female ninja is surprised that Ark even knew what a ninja was and hopes to meet him again. And that's the end of the video. Part 2 will be coming soon. As always, if you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I will be uploading a lot of videos just like this one.